What a night it has been. 4 fights so far, 3 of them ending in knockout. Actually, all 4 ending in knockout. We haven't had a distance fight yet. Perhaps it's about to change as we go to the welterweight division. Rick Graham, 2-4-2 with 1 knockout. But hey, he's fighting on ESPN, worldwide TV, a chance to really make his mark. He comes out of Detroit, Michigan as well. You just saw Tony Harrison, super bad. And his opponent, he's a tall drink of water for a welterweight, 6'2" tall, undefeated at 4-0 with 3 knockouts. It is Jamontay Clark.
4 defeats, 2 draws, with 1 of his 2 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Rick the Ruler Graham. His opponent across the ring fighting tonight out of the blue corner. He's wearing red with gray trim and weighed in at 149 pounds. Hailing from Cincinnati, Ohio, he is undefeated with 4 wins. 3 of his 4 wins come by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Jamontay, the Quiet Assassin, Clark.
6'2" tall.
This should be another blowout, I would think, in favor of the tall man.
Known as the Quiet Assassin, Jamontay Clark.
And I noticed you got quiet when you said it.
4 rounds. Let's touch gloves.
He's got influence over us.
Let's go to work.
Amazing.
Don't you want to touch gloves?
How about that? The ruler, Rick Graham, refusing to touch gloves with the big fella, Jamontay Clark.
You know, Clark is tall, he's wiry. You know, he's a tall drink of water, you might say. And he's a southpaw on top of it. He's lefty. Difficult to deal with a southpaw to begin with. Now a tall guy like this, usually tall, skinny guys, wiry guys can punch. They usually get good leverage in their punches, good torque in their punches, and usually good results when they hit something. And there's something that Clark's going to be trying to hit is a guy that's 8 years older than him, 28-year-old Graham. And I'm concerned about Graham. There's just something that doesn't strike me right here because he came in the lightest of his career, but he's 12 pounds less than his last fight only 2 weeks ago. So as a boxing person, that tells me that he was told by his people, you have to lose weight to get down to this fight. And he might have stopped himself. I don't know what he did, but to lose 12 pounds in 2 weeks, he did something that I don't think is going to be helpful to him tonight.
We started boxing at the age of 24. He's now 28. Talking about Rick Graham in the red and white trunks with red shoes. Said he was going to the gym to watch a friend train.
Don't grab his head.
And the spirit of boxing took over his mind, and he never turned away from boxing. Is that what happened to you? Boxing just took over your mind?
I'm not sure. I don't think it took over my mind, but because it influenced me, there's no doubt about that. And right now, there's no doubt that the southpaw Clark, he knows how to fight on the outside. He knows how to be tall, use his jab, not give up his height, try to get full extension on his punches, try to keep the shorter man Graham at the end of his punches. I'm going to say it again. Graham came in light as his career by far. 7 pounds less than when he turned pro, 12 pounds less than 2 weeks ago. And I have no doubt that he was told, hey, to get this fight, you got to drop down in weight. Clark's people want you at a certain weight. And I'm going to see whether or not that losing all that weight is going to obviously hurt Graham. I don't think it can help him. But it's up to Clark now, obviously, to control the pace.
Well, what would you do if you're a young fighter, 2-4-2 record, obviously not a big future in the sport, and somebody said you can fight on ESPN's Friday Night Fights worldwide if you can lose that much weight in 2 weeks? Would you do it?
Yeah.
Why not, right?
I would do it.
That's what he did. He's got a shot here. It's only a 4-rounder.
There's a great opportunity for Clark to set him up for a big left hand. If you notice, Graham likes to slip and lay on his right side. I think too much. A little heavy over on that right side when you throw at him. So if I'm in the corner of Clark, I'm telling him, throw the jab, get him over on that right side of his, the left side of yours, and then go over with the left hand and nail him. See the way he moves to that right side there?
Let's take a look at tonight's Punch of the Night, brought to you by Just 4 Men, and here it comes. Plant versus Henry, our opening bout. It didn't last a round. Caleb Plant with a decisive knockout win.
Throwing punches there with bad intentions. You could see that on the facial expression of the undefeated Plant.
And now back to our welterweight fight, scheduled for 4 rounds. We're in round 2. Jamontay Clark, undefeated 20-year-old, 6'2" tall, taking on Rick the Ruler Graham.
Clark's supposed to dominate. He's got 91 amateur fights. Graham only 13 amateur fights. But again, give credit to Clark, even though he's not, you know, a heat-seeking missile. He knows what he is. He knows his identity. He's a tall guy, very tall for this weight class, and he's using that height. He's staying within his identity. I like that.
He's only 20 years old, as I mentioned, Teddy. How hard will it be for him to stay in this weight class, considering he is over 6 feet tall as he gets old?
Yeah, it'll be hard. But he still has the height to move up to junior middleweight and still be a real good size at junior middleweight, so he has good options.
Stop.
What he has to learn is being the taller guy on the outside is beautiful if you're Clark. But when you start to get close, you can't stand tall. Because he got touched a little bit there a moment ago. And if you stand tall when you get close, guess what? There's a lot of body to catch. There's a lot of target for the shorter man to catch. Like I like to say sometimes, it's like breaking windows, you know, in a tall building. I mean, you got a skyscraper in front of you, you're tall, you're a shorter guy, you start breaking windows a little bit. That guy's standing tall in front of you. And if you're that tall guy, you don't want the windows broken. So when you get close, you got to get small. You got to get your head on the side, not stand as that tall building to get your windows broken.
That tall building, Jamontay Clark weighed in at 149 pounds. Just for some perspective, Teddy, I'm by no means, oh, hold on, as Clark gets off balance a little bit, I'm by no means fat, but I'm 6'2", and I weigh 50 pounds more than Jamontay Clark.
Thanks for that information.
How about that?
Appreciate that.
Do I need to go on a diet?
No, you're good.
Thank you. Not quite as good as Jamontay. Any other, some fashion tips, weight loss subjects for you?
No, I think you're doing fine.
Okay.
And there's a nice body shot by Clark. You know, I like Clark. He's a tall guy. He's going to learn some things, but he knows his identity again. He knows what he is. He knows what he's not. He's not a seek and destroy. You know, he's not Jake LaMotta. He's not supposed to be. You know, he's a guy that's got to learn to use that jab, probably learn to do more things off the jab. I don't see him hooking off the jab, doing anything off it, but he's using the jab to set up that left hand, and that's good.
Friday Night Fights returns with a special Thursday night edition, a little less than 3 weeks away, March 26th. Reyes Prescott taking on the unbeaten Frederick Lawson, 23-0 with 20 knockouts. That's at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. Enjoy. We'll be in South Florida for that contest. Right now, round 3 of the Schedule 4 in the welterweight division. Rick Graham, the shorter guy, taking on the very tall 6'2" Jamontay Clark.
Graham took this fight on 5 days' notice, but again, he only fought 2 weeks ago, so you know some of that conditioning obviously was still there from fighting and getting prepared for that fight 2 weeks ago. And a lot of people are going to say, Teddy, I thought he was going to disappear, Graham. You know, you talked about him losing 12 pounds in 2 weeks. And
that's a knockdown. You go over that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You all right? Keep on your feet. Box.
I saw Graham step right on Clark's foot. I'm sure we'll see it in the replay later on.
Yeah, I think you're right. I don't know that that was a legitimate knockdown, but we have the benefit later on.
He's doing it again, too.
Yeah, when you have a southpaw and an orthodox fighter, you got the lead right foot, sometimes stepping on the lead left foot, or the lead left foot of the orthodox fighter, sometimes stepping on the lead right foot of the southpaw. That happens a lot. It just happened a moment ago. I just watched it happen, but nobody pulled away. And, you know, sometimes what happens is the orthodox fighter will step on the southpaw's foot and the southpaw pull away, and of course the foot is stuck, and he'll fall down. I got a funny feeling that might have happened, but right now, the referee made it a knockdown, and the judges are thinking 10-8 rounds. If I was a judge, I might not be thinking that so fast.
Either way, it's a big point gain there for Rick Graham, who looked like he lost rounds 1 and 2, so he's still alive here.
Yeah, again, it's tricky when you find the southpaw, those feet get in the way. And we've watched it a couple times throughout this round, you know, after the so-called knockdown, where, again, the left foot of the orthodox fighter is getting tangled with the lead right foot of the southpaw. You got to know where to put your feet when you're fighting a southpaw.
And that's certainly now in the back of the mind of Jamontay Clark, thinking, hey, I got to watch out for my foot getting stepped on, instead of focusing just on throwing punches and playing some defense.
Again, one thing I say about Clark, he knows his identity. He's not coming out of it. You know, even though he got a knockdown scored against him that I'm not sure should have been, he's staying calm, he's staying the taller guy, he's doing what he needs to do.
Coming up after this break, Teddy Atlas takes us inside the ropes with a lesson on how to fight a southpaw.
When you're fighting a southpaw, a lefty, first thing you got to know which way to move. Not this way, not into his power punch, away from his power punch, and where you get your left foot outside his lead right foot, where you can get an angle, where you can hit him with the jab and keep him a little off balance. That's how you fight a lefty. Let's take a look at the replay from that so-called knockdown. There, right there, you see Graham step on the foot, the lead right foot of the southpaw, and as we thought might have been the case, Clark pulls away. When he pulls away, his foot doesn't give, and he trips. Should not have been a knockdown.
And by the way, that was the only punch that CompuBox had Graham scoring in that entire round. So you can look at it one of two ways. He's extremely efficient, or he just isn't getting the job done.
See, I think that was a 10-9 round for Clark. But you know that the judges are going to, they don't have the benefit of the replay like we do, so they're going to go and say probably a 10-8 round. But even without the benefit of the instant replay like we have, if I was a judge, I'd make this a 10-9 round then in favor of Graham. Because other than that so-called knockdowns that they think was a knockdown that really wasn't a knockdown, other than that, it was really Clark's round.
Is that a correct score then? You gave it 10-9 to Graham?
Yeah, only because I'm not supposed to have the benefit of the video.
Okay.
I'm trying to be fair.
You got to trust what the referee tells you.
I'm trying to be fair.
The referee says it's a knockdown, it's a knockdown.
I don't have the benefit as a judge. I should not have the benefit of what I have the benefit of. So I'm going to play it fair. I'm going to say 10-9, but not 10-8. 10-9, because even if it was a knockdown, you still had Clark controlling that round, not being dominated.
If the judges did indeed score 10-8, though, Teddy, this is an even fight now heading into round number 4, so Graham very much alive here.
That's a great point. And you would hate to see that happen, because unless something, you know, unexpected happens here out of the sky, out of the blue, Clark should be the winner.
So some urgency here for Clark, certainly, if he wants to keep his unbeaten record intact.
See, once again, you see some of the things that the 20-year-old Clark still needs to learn. You know, he extends that jab, he gets good extension on his punches, controls the outside pretty well. But then when he gets a little close, he stands tall, and he leaves himself susceptible, leaves himself open, because like I said, when you're tall, close to a guy, there's a lot of target to catch. And a moment ago, Graham caught some of that target.
Clark hits his target there. Graham, you can see it, fatigue setting in. His mouth is agape as he tries to get as much oxygen as possible, but he needs to start throwing punches. 15 seconds to go, and Clark getting the better of this exchange.
I'd love to see them teach Clark to do more off of that lead right jab. Learn to hook off it, learn to maybe even uppercut off it.
So that'll do it. Is Jamontay Clark's record going to remain unblemished? We'll find out when Friday Night Fights returns. As we prepare for the official decision to be announced, let's look at Teddy's scorecard. 39-37 for Jamontay Clark. Those of you scoring on our Friday Night Fights Facebook page have it 3 rounds to 1. Here's that knockdown, but did it come off a punch, or was it all about a trip, Teddy?
It's all about a trip. I think you're going to see there again. You see Graham step on the foot of Clark. Clark pulls back. That left hand doesn't really land at all. The right hand misses. Nothing lands. I mean, you want to make an argument that he touched him, that he touched his cheek with the left glove? You could make an argument, but no real punch landed. It was all about the feet.
All right, there are the 2 combatants. Let's hear the official decision. Here's Thomas Triber.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 4 rounds of boxing, we go to the judges' scorecards, and all 3 judges, Adelaide Bird, Ricardo Ocasio, and Herb Santos, score it exactly the same, 39-37, all in favor of your winner by unanimous decision, and still undefeated, Jamontay, the Quiet Assassin, Clark.
Well, the judges handled that properly. They got that right. They made it a 10-9 round. I give them credit for that. I knock them when they're not right. And before we go off the air, quick happy birthday to one of our biggest fans out there, Joey Mascara, 13 years old. Happy birthday, kid.
Is he still up this late? Well, it is a Friday. He's okay, right?
Oh, it's his birthday. Of course he's up this late.
All right. As we approach 1 a.m., or after 1 a.m. on the East Coast. So this was the only fight that went the distance. Welterweight division, Jamontay Clark remaining unbeaten at 5-0. Thanks for checking out Friday Night Fights. We'll see you in about 3 weeks down in South Florida. Greatest Prescott and Frederick Lawson. For Teddy Atlas, I'm Todd Grisham. Have a great night from the entire Friday Night Fights crew, and enjoy the fight card tomorrow night. Thurman versus Guerrero, Broner versus Molina from right here at the MGM Grand.